So we can do that and that. That's all recorded.
Awesome. All right. Okay, thank you very much for coming to join us on a winter night. I know some of you have battled through traffic to get here, and some of you came really early, so thank you for coming. I'll just run for a few housekeeping things to start with, and then we'll get going. We do have picture just in the front row here is recording. You might have seen that on the flyer that we are doing a live webinar. So we've got about 30 to 40 people who are joining us via webinar link and recording. So we may be tuning off, sort some stuff out with the phone or camera at times. That's what that is. In an event of emergency, please leave through either of the exit doors that are behind you, and you don't take the lift, but our direct exit is back down the stairs if you come up that main stairwell. So turn right out of there, and then we meet downstairs outside between the two main buildings. Okay, for the event of emergency. And as I mentioned before, bathrooms just directly across the hallway. Please help yourself. Feel free to help yourself to another drink or any food during the talk as we go. If you do have your mobile phone on you, please turn that to silent and just not to distract anyone. That would be great. We will just ask, because there is a few of us presenting, we will just ask for questions to be at the end of today. So if you've got a good question and you feel you might forget it, then definitely ask away. But otherwise, we'll try and do most of the questions today. So as I say, thank you very much. This is our, I suppose, myself and Sarah, who I'll introduce in a moment, decided that we have been running PD Warrior here in New Zealand for the last 3 years, but we never really did an official launch night, and we thought, right, let's launch it, let's really kind of get the news out there. So thank you very much for joining us. So we had a little bit of a chat about what we're going to do, and we thought it's always good to hear a range of people. If anyone has heard me speak before, I can talk for hours, so I'm being only given a 5-minute slot, so you'll be pleased with that. So I'm going to have a talk where I'll introduce you to Sarah, who runs Hibiscus Neuro Physio, and she is a licensed holder of PD Warrior here. We've got fantastic Simon Mayhew, who's a local GP and someone living very well with Parkinson's. And then we've got a video recording link from Melissa McConaughey, who's actually the founder of PD Warrior, to listen to as well today. So, myself. Oh, sorry. Can people hear in the back okay? So I'm Julie Davey. Some of you know me very well because I can see some lots of very familiar faces, and some of you don't know me at all. I am a neurological physio and have been for about 15 years. I'm originally from the UK, but I have been this side of the world, both here in New Zealand and Australia, since 2006. So I've been here for a long time. So I own a clinic called Connect Neuro Physiotherapy, and actually I'm based downstairs here. That's where I am. And my involvement with PD Warrior is I was very fortunate that I left New Zealand and went to Sydney to work at PD Warrior back in 2012 when it was just being launched. So I worked where the main clinic is of PD Warrior for 4 years and then came back here. I'm the New Zealand therapist trainer, so I train other health professionals here in New Zealand and PD Warrior. And obviously I've been delivering PD Warrior since 2012. I think the really important thing to really kind of take away from today, that I've been treating Parkinson's for 15 years, and in 2012, I had never seen results that I had seen from this program prior to that. You know, this is a program that has got people not necessarily just coping with their Parkinson's, but actually improving with their Parkinson's. We take quite a few outcome measures. Any of you that have been along to physios before would see that we take lots of measures of your walking speed and your hand function, and we repeat those measures periodically through the year. And I have had people who are 4 years from when I first met them who are still recording better scores year on each year. So that shows you that their physical presentation is not getting worse because their scores are getting better. Their Parkinson's may be declining. We don't know what is happening on a pathophysiological level in the brain, so their Parkinson's may still be progressing. But the fact that they're walking better, they're moving their hands better, they are living with a better quality of life means I think they're really doing very well with the condition. And prior to doing a program like this, I hadn't ever treated a progressive neurological condition and achieved those results. So what is PD Warrior? What we really define it as now is a neuroactive exercise program. Okay, so this is kind of Mel talks a little bit more about what neuroactive is than when I interview her. But most of you understand Parkinson's is a neurological condition, and the exercise approach that we are doing is about making that neurological system active again. Okay, so we used to use neuroplasticity for a while and realized that quite a few people didn't really understand what neuroplasticity might mean. But a lot of people think neuroactive, well, that sounds like that nervous system is doing something. It's an early intervention strategy, and this is the really key part. Now, I know some of you in the audience here may have been diagnosed for a number of years. This doesn't rule you out of the benefits you get, but this intervention has really made headway in treating people who are newly diagnosed and minimally impaired. So for those of you in the audience who are health professionals, we're looking at Yon and Ha kind of 1 to 2, okay? And what it is it's treating people really differently. So when I started, and for many years as a physio, we would only get referrals, and this still happens today, when people have started falling or their quality of life has started changing. And the reality is, if you leave it till that late, the ability to change is much, much harder. Okay, because by the time you've been diagnosed, you've already shown some form of neurological change. You've either got slower, you're taking shuffly steps, your hand doesn't work as well, you've got a tremor. So we know at diagnosis there's already these changes that have happened. Okay? And for many, many years, people weren't getting any physio until they were years down the line. And we now know that that's way too late. So this is a program really aimed at that newly diagnosed and impaired, but it can also still work very, very well on those people who have still progressed. We just tailor it. It's a lot more than just an exercise program. We're going to talk a little bit about the 10-week challenge, but that's really the starting gates to get you going. It's about long-term exercise adherence. The reality is, people don't die because of Parkinson's, they die because of inactivity. Weakness, if anyone feels that they've become weak because of their Parkinson's, okay, it's because of you've become slower and less active. Weakness isn't a primary symptom of Parkinson's, it's a secondary. When people hear that, they go, and it's one of the prime things that I probably diagnose in the first session that anyone comes to see me with Parkinson's, and whether they're in their 30s or in their 70s, is that they are not as fit as their age-matched norm and not as active. They reckon that by diagnosis, someone with Parkinson's is already walking 3,000 steps less on average than their age-matched norm. Okay, so we already know that those changes are there. So we want people to be getting fit and strong for the rest of their life. And it's got a really good slogan, which is about train brave. And again, Mel goes into this better than I will, so I'll leave it for her. But again, it's about trying to lead that best life. You know, unfortunately, when you get diagnosed with a progressive degenerative neurological condition, there's not much good news about that first line, is there? It's a progressive degenerative neurological condition. But what we're realizing now is there is so much you can do to live well with it. And I think that is a completely different approach and a completely different story than definitely when I first trained and even kind of now. So it's some exciting changes. We've got a laptop battery running low. So the PD Warrior is built on 4 pillars. So there's neuroactive exercise, which is different, and Sarah will go into this, and even Simon will go into this. This isn't just about jumping on an exercise bike. This isn't about being active and doing gardening and walking 10,000 steps a day. This is Parkinson's specific ways of moving. Large amplitude, forced use, dual tasking. Okay, it's a very specific way, and that's what people don't understand. People will say, yes, I'm already exercising, because any doctor and any neurologist will tell you that exercise is beneficial. Okay, and you could be doing some great exercise, but is it Parkinson's specific? And what I would tell you is, unless you have seen someone who specializes in the treatment of Parkinson's, you would not have been given this part yet. The next one is education. Okay, all of you who are diagnosed with Parkinson's, and those who are health professionals in here, the most important and most powerful thing you can do for anyone is upskill their knowledge. As a health professional, I truly believe my job is to educate someone else with Parkinson's to know more than I know, because I'm not the one living with it. To be living with it, you need to know all the ins and outs. So this program really helps provide that education. Behaviour change, okay, so obviously we know in society there are some people who are always been an exerciser. They can always dedicate time to go to the gym and do the right exercise and bits and pieces like that. Others of us, okay, need a lot of help to do that, okay, so this is really helping you set up the right behaviours to live well with this condition. And the fourth one, and again, Mel goes into this really well later, is about that tribe, that community. And I'm sure, you know, those of you who have been diagnosed with Parkinson's, there's a lot of feeling lost initially. You know, who do you go and speak to? You know, and we do have fantastic Parkinson's Society, okay, both locally here for people to go chat to, but often finding people to talk with, and also from a positive point of view. You know, it's not a sit around, have a tea and biscuit and moan about how bad your life is. It's a come and do some real neuroactive, empowering exercise, be surrounded by people who are going and doing great things to help keep you motivated. So PD Warrior is based on these 7 core principles, and really where it comes from, I just briefly touch on the research that PD Warrior pulls together other research that people have done and packages it in a better package, is the way I best describe it. So we've got other programs like LSVT, BIG, etc. But I truly believe that PD Warrior is more accessible, okay, because it's got more ability to individualize something for someone. But it also just combines. So we've got the large amplitude training, we've got forced use, dual tasking. I won't go through all of these in particular now, but it's just showing that things like the specificity is that we're really individualizing treatment. This isn't a one size fits all. When you get assessed by a PD Warrior trained therapist, they're going to sub-categorize you into either being bradykinetic dominant, which is that small, slow, rigid movements, or tremor dominant, which is obviously self-explanatory if your tremor is more pronounced, or agility impaired, which means if you've already started falling. Now, depending on what category you fall into under your specificity, will radically change how we treat you and what you should be doing from an exercise approach. Okay, so it's just helping you understand that this is really quite specific. Okay, and an example I gave to some educators last week was you don't just see your GP for your Parkinson's medication. You've all generally been to see a neurologist at some point because they're the experts in treating. The same with exercise. You may go see a personal trainer, you may see a normal physio, but at some point you should really be investing in going to see someone who's an expert in this area. And to help with this combining of a tribe, okay, and the behaviour change, you'll see a lot of PD Warrior about the 10-week challenge, okay? So what we're trying to do there is really get people to commit and also take on that changing behaviours of how you move takes time. And I can guarantee I can get anyone in this audience with Parkinson's up the front and make you walk completely differently. because I can shout really loudly, okay, and be quite scary. But then, as soon as you leave this room, you're going to go back to your show. So trying to change behaviour of how you move takes time. And that's why it's done over 10 weeks. And then the idea is that when you finish the 10 weeks, you may carry on with those exercises, or hopefully it's also giving you the inspiration to go and achieve some other goals and just to live this great life of Parkinson's. And you can always come back to this 10-week challenge and these 10 core exercises that Sarah's going to go. That is a little bit about what PD Warrior is. The health professional course, so to say, I'm the New Zealand trainer, so there is an online theory course. Now, all of this information I am talking about can all be found on the PD Warrior website, okay, as well, and visual video. So if you are a health professional, you can do the online training. So that is for anyone who's a personal trainer, exercise physiologist, or physio, and that's 15 hours of online training, which gives you a fantastic base, which is evidence, research-led, of what you should be doing to treat Parkinson's now, because it is really different. The universities aren't teaching this yet. Okay, we're still waiting for universities to catch up with the latest treatment. So this is good for any health professional to do. Then after the level 1, we run a level 2 practical course. Unfortunately, because New Zealand's quite small, we tend to be running our practical courses about once a year. Okay, so we've had one in Auckland earlier this year, and we'll be running one either in Wellington or Christchurch in about April next year. And that's a one-day course that you have to have done a level 1 initially. And the level 2 is actually learning all the practical applications and seeing it in real life with people with Parkinson's. We get in volunteers and get the health professionals treating them there under, our expert eye to really make sure people have really grasped the treatment. Then there's level 3, which is advanced treatment, and this is for people who are only under a licensee program. And so that then takes us on to level 4, which is what I'm now introduced you to as Sarah, myself and Sarah, who own basically the PD Warrior license here. And that gives you as a health professional lots of marketing support and extra education and webinars. And as I say, if you are a health professional, it's just that kind of next level up. As I say, Sarah's going to talk about. So that is me. I'm going to hand you over to Sarah Hopkins, who is the owner and the clinical lead at Hibiscus Neuro Rehab. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Julie, for that amazing presentation and for hosting this evening. And thank you, everyone, for coming along to listen to us this evening. I'm really excited to be here, to be able to give you this information about PD Warrior and to share why I found it such a great tool to be able to teach patients to really make a positive first step in their journey with Parkinson's. I've also been treating Parkinson's for about 15 years and decided to license PD Warrior along with myself and my 2 other therapists that I work with at Hibiscus Neuro to really make a difference to patients and their families' lives. So this evening, for the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to have a chat to you about why treatment in Parkinson's is effective and what the programs that are out there really include and why PD Warrior is so specific with this. We're going to look at how PD Warrior can impact your life. We're going to get up and have a little bit of fun. I'm going to get you moving and have a look at some of the exercises. And then we're going to have a look at the patient journey. Now, you've had some folders on your sheets, and inside is this flyer. If you just get that out and pop it on your knee, we'll be referencing that in a little bit. So there's, as Julie said, there's lots of different treatments out there for Parkinson's, and I think I wanted to touch on why they are effective and how they can make these changes within the brain. Things like LSV, TBIG, and PD Warrior really have some things in common that make these treatments effective for patients. So they look at early intervention, starting at early diagnosis, and they're intensive. So they're really working on that neuroplastic principle of driving that intensity for patients. They work in partnership with clients and their families to make them be in control of their condition. And they look at recalibration. So if we look at the research into early intervention, we know that animal studies show that there can be neuroprotective effects from exercise, but that's also been shown in the human research as well. In fact, a study by Frazetta in 2015 looked at patients newly diagnosed. They did 4 weeks of intensive therapy of 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And then they did it again at 1 year and carried on and followed them up at 2 years. They had a control group alongside that. What they found is that there was a slowdown in disease progression. There was less uptake and need for medication for the treatment group. And there were improvements in their outcome measures, such as the timed up and go, 6-minute walk test, and the Parkinson's Disability Rating Scale. But what I think was more important about this paper is that it showed the control group had more of a sedentary lifestyle. And as Julie said, we know 30% of patients at diagnosis, patients are 30% more sedentary than their age-matched controls. So it showed a slowdown and it showed a degeneration in the progression of their Parkinson's, a worsening in their balance and gait scores. So early intervention is really important because it slows down that disease progression and gets people moving well. We work in partnership so you have control of your condition. And then we talk about recalibration. So this brings it back to that neuroactive exercise. What it is about teaching a patient to move well. We know that 80% of the dopamine producing cells have been lost at time of diagnosis already. So those movement patterns have changed. So what we're doing is teaching people how to move well so they can have a really good quality of life. So how does PD Warrior help you? We know it improves quality of movement. It prevents that sedentary lifestyle and encourages exercise and behaviour change through the 10-week challenge and through the ongoing intervention. We know there's a strong body of literature that supports moderate to high intensity exercise to improve cognitive processing. And it keeps people engaged in meaningful activities such as remaining in employment, playing with their grandchildren, being able to go out and play that game of golf. And the exercises work on dynamic stepping and weight shift, so they help with balance and reducing falls and ultimately improve patients' confidence with their movement. And it's also improving quality of life. And it's the little things that my patients tell me that they improve on, like being able to crack an egg with their left hand, or being able to use both their hands to wash their hair, or my lovely 80-year-old gentleman who went back to walking 2 kilometres a day once he started this program. But most of all, it's not just about the exercise, it's about providing the education and the empowerment for people to take control of their own destiny and their own condition. So we're going to have a bit of fun now. I'm going to get you to stand up. Just pop those flyers on the seat in front of you. So we talked about, Julie mentioned that PD Warrior is based on 10 core exercises. And these are used to demonstrate the PD Warrior principles. So we're going to start. With what we number 8 there called squat and stop. I'm going to demonstrate it first for you. So I'm going to put that down, otherwise you might get it. So we're going to have our hands up here, our feet are shoulder width apart, we're nice and tall. And I'm going to demonstrate first. So the arms are going to go out and you're going to squat down, you're going to hold, and then you're going to pull back in. Okay, so we aim to make it big, so lots of amplitude, lots of force, and high effort. So we're trying to get about 80% effort when we move. Okay, ready and go. Hold, 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 stretch, check those fingers are outspread, arms are symmetrical, and in. So who thinks they got up to 80%? Yeah. Great work. I think we all need to have a go. Okay, this time we're going to use our voice and we're going to go really loud. We're going to use our breath and push out. Ready and go. Hold, 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 and in. Great. Okay, everyone take a seat. Exercise is really a way of teaching you the skills together well. and they're all individualised to patients. You don't just get a list of 10 exercises. They're picked specifically for you to work around what impairments we've seen when you've been assessed. So if we all grab this flyer now, we're going to have a quick look at the patient journey. So I'm really excited to present this. This is something we've put together to make it easier for patients to understand, and their families, how the Parkinson's journey works and how Peak Warrior fits together. So the first bit, step one, is the initial assessment, and that's where we get patients in to assess them. We talk about their goals. We categorise them into those 3 categories that Jilly talked about. And we look at their outcome measures and see where their impairments are. And sometimes we're the ones to pick up those impairments and get them to be able to know where to focus. Step 2 is about the therapy sessions. We normally do a minimum of 2 therapy sessions, but the program's really flexible, so it can be tailored to what everyone needs. And the really good thing about it is it starts anywhere from a cost of $169 to $200 for an initial assessment, and then the sessions can be put on top of that. So it can be really flexible and affordable for people. So at the therapy sessions, this is where you're taught the principles, you're taught how to move well, and you're taught how to put it into your daily life. Step 3 is the 10-week online challenge, and this comes as part of the program. And what it is you're encouraged to exercise every day for 10 weeks. You get a weekly exercise video and a weekly education video that gets you into that behaviour change and gets you exercising. Step 4 is the group exercise classes, and there are specifically designed PD Warrior exercise classes that both Jilly and I run. And this is to bring people in to be part of that tribe. They get to share their journey with other people doing the same thing. And then they also have a therapist that's there to give them pointers and help them along their journey. Step 5 is the 12-week review step. So what we do at the end of the 10-week challenge is we get people back in, we have a look at where we are, we redo their outcome measures and look at what their improvements are. And I'm happy to say that every patient I brought back in has made improvements, which is just so motivating as a therapist. And then step 6 is probably one of the most important steps. It's the follow-up and review sessions. Depending on patients' needs, we will bring them back at 3, 6 or 12 months, and we will look at where they're at. And this is so they're accountable. They know that someone's there supporting them along the journey in partnership. And also, it means we can pick up any issues that may have come up for them that they haven't noticed, and we will often pick that up first. Because it's always easier to maintain function than it is to regain function. So each step in this journey is important as each other. I'm really excited about this program, and I hope you can see its benefits. So I'm going to leave you there, and I'm going to introduce Dr. Simon Mayhew to come and talk to you this evening about his journey with Parkinson's as a qualified healthcare professional and someone living with Parkinson's well.
Sorry, that's my wedding photo. You just get to have a look at it. It was fancy dress.
Are you not speaking loud enough? Because I complain that I don't speak loud enough, mainly my wife. It was interesting. I was sitting in the back. I've been doing a little bit of my brother in Paris. Wondering what I was doing tonight. He's from Paris. He's got atrial fibrillation. He's a bit concerned, so he goes to the uncle brother's doctor. He said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm at a Parkinson's seminar." So, what are you doing there? So, so he's got basically, "You're the expert witness." So maybe I am, maybe I aren't. So I'm going to talk about my story. That's my background. I've been a wife for 35 years. 2 adult children, both doctors. Started off my career in education and exercise physiology. Interestingly, my area of interest is specificity training and testing. And from the med school, know how many hours of lectures we had on exercise science in med school. And I thought that it would be worse when my kids went along, so I asked them once they got through, how many hours of lectures did you have on exercise as a medicine and exercise science? 0, 12 years. So we tried to make a difference when I was working with sports medicine and undergraduate trainees. But you know, the pathologist wanted so many 100 hours, the physiologist wanted so many 100 hours, and we couldn't give 1 hour. That's my background. I got interested in sports medicine. So I've got this thing exciting. Basically, my interest in being these, not that. Golf's a bit of fun. I was at push my head. Then things started to change. In 2006, this feeling at my pocket, something was going off in my pocket like phone. It's been on for months and months, and both legs like buzzing, odd feeling. Like used to say, you don't smile in pictures. Graduation photos, I wasn't smiling. What's wrong with you, Simon? Smile, for Pete's sake. It started changing, and after 3 months, I got a bit worried. As a doctor, patient comes in and said their voice has changed, they're husky for 3 months. It's cancer, it's improving otherwise. I was more worried. So I went in with David Bugs, a voice specialist. He told me after 5 minutes I made the diagnosis when he walked into the room. Nothing wrong with your vocal cords, nothing wrong at all. He showed me those. Parkinson's disease. I went and saw a neurologist, no names. And as Jimmy said, he said exercise is good for you. The more vigorous the exercise, the better. He also said coffee was good, so him and I are good friends. Taking his advice, he said I shouldn't have coffee. Then he said you can start the medication when you want to. I didn't want to. I went through Christmas with pregnant and did the Partner Rail Trail with Laura, my daughter. It felt great. Why do I want to take tablets? No, I was feeling so great. And next weekend, I was still down in Dunedin. I went to the Presets 40 years on. After 3 hours, that's right. You're different, you're moving differently. No one guessed. I was determined not to tell them. I wasn't going to explore that weekend. And by the end of the weekend, I was taking something. Disguise it. Maybe more. The best drug that I ever taken, it was an immediate effect. It did what it was supposed to do initially. Got rid of the buzzing, started to smile again. My voice got better. My wife said, I've got my old Simon back. We know the story, don't we? Cinema's only going to last for so long. Then if you go and Google and YouTube, and you've probably all done it, you can ask people and people give you advice. What do I do? What do I take? All sorts of supplements on the market. Certain exercise regimes for 30 minutes. We know about that. That's just being presented before. Anyone here tried the ketogenic diet? Hard? Too hard, yeah. Too hard. Another way, you've got to get constipated. You soon realize there's no cure. You just modify this to make the most of it. This is what it is. So, this lady working down the hallway doing stuff with people, doing treatment with people who have strokes and all sorts of interesting things. So, yep. I talk and I said, can I be your patient? I've got Parkinson's disease. It's fabulous for me. I found out where I was at. I had specific measurements of strengths and weaknesses. Don't train rugby props, but train marathoners. You've got to be specific, individualised. That appealed to me because that came from my former life. Specificity of exercise, getting the best outcomes by being individual and specific. Early thoughts. I don't do it every day. In most days, drove my wife nuts. Can't you have a day off? No, I've got to increase Jilly when I go back to class. High intensity. That one resonated with me. I like that. feel like I was training again as an athlete when I used to do on this track, 400-meter runs. Exaggerated big numbers. Dog thought I was losing it. I'd be in the garage doing this, and just golden retriever looking up as they did. Fun. It was fun. We go to classes and have a lot of fun. AP tree. Venus improved. It was surprising. I'm more agile, more mobile again. Guys that I've gone to lessons. The lessons made no difference. The agility work that I did with Eddie Warriors made a big difference. So, this is the most important thing for me, I think, for me. Get my fix and fun. It's good going. I'm a team sports person. I like doing things for the team. Challenging, stuff I can't do, stuff I can't do very well. Better. Achieve it. Social, that's good too. Meeting people, getting away, sharing experiences. New exercises to do at home. Exercises to impress the dog with. Coaching. Like that. In a class, but you're an individual. One coaching all the time. Just 5 minutes a session. It's gold. So this is my ideal. Hey, just play. Experience. The dog is like. Anything's going to get away. It's indoors in the garage. Have a good day. 52 hours of this day. Lovely. 5 Thursday is like Tuesday, well, I like this last Tuesday. I'm fine. Work all day. Friday cycle. It's fun. Never thought I liked boxing. I used to get asked to go on to boxing fights to the doctor, and I always refused. But I couldn't support a sport. Family on purpose. Could be head injuries. It was a passion of mine. And training. Your mind. Now it just goes. I cheated on a Sunday. Wife bought me an e-bike. Birthday when I turned 16. So it fun gets me out. Hills is so much easier. I try and stretch. So, I acknowledge a few people much studying and entering, motivating me, educating me. Okay, on our school exercise, I look at you. Only person I really seen really close with Parkinson's was my father. He was in the 80s, he had lots of other things wrong with him. Still shooting with him. My wife is my rock. Properly, Simon, don't be a bloody zombie. Swing those arms. Talk louder. Big voice, Simon, big voice. Please, 2 grumble backs. Amazing. She puts up with a lot. She comes with me. She listens. This is the dog. Thinks I'm crazy, but she loves it.
Stay around, answer a couple of questions, just after this. Join us, and obviously this is a great way of getting more use out of technology, is that you could be here and in New Zealand yourself, but it's great to actually have you here essentially as a bit of a recording of your influence, founder of PD Warrior. And so I think, you know, from some of the things that have been discussed already in the evening, something that's probably come up a lot, which would be really great to hear in your own words, is with PD Warrior, you really promote the term neuroactive exercise. And could you explain to us a little bit more what that actually means?
Yeah, hi everybody. I feel like I'm almost in New Zealand because it's so cold here in Australia. So I mean, I'm there in spirit. But thanks, Julie. Yeah, so neuroactive exercise is actually a phrase that Lynn and I coined ourselves when we first developed the program. And we created that word because we really wanted to differentiate neuroactive as in neuroplastic approach to exercise, in contrast to neurodegenerative activity, which is what we believe is going to be the fastest way to accelerate symptom progression. And then also contrast that with neuropassive, which is what we typically do with generalized exercise programs that are really good for general health, so cardiovascular systems, metabolic systems, respiratory systems. They're not really enough to drive that rewiring, that increased efficiency of brain electrical activity. So we don't classify that as neuroplastic training. So what we really wanted to do is create a phrase that really people understand. Active people know what that means. Neuro, we could bring it back together. And so neuroactive was what we decided would be the best way to really represent what neuroplastic exercise is for people, in contrast to the other two extremes, the neurodegenerative and neuropassive. So if we talk a little bit more about neuroplastic, because that's really what underlies the phrase neuroactive. So neuroplasticity is not a new term at all. We've used it in neuro rehab for well over 2 decades, probably, maybe a little bit more, predominantly in stroke, brain injury, MS, spinal cord injury. It's not a new phrase, but it's really quite new to Parkinson's. And so that, I think, has been the main driving force behind creating PD Warrior and bringing those neuroplastic principles into the way that we create our exercise program, and now we call it a neuroactive style approach.
Yeah, awesome. So can you explain a little bit more when you talk about neuroactive exercise to restore the abnormal electrical activity in the brain, especially with that dopamine efficiency? Could you go into that in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, look, I think it's probably one of the most exciting areas of exercise and how powerful it can actually be. And I think this is what's often underestimated in the role of exercise. So what we see in the literature now, both in animal studies but in human studies, is this phrase called neurorestoration. And what that actually means is the restoration of a couple of things. One is the cortical silent period. So let me just break that down a little bit. So in people with Parkinson's, we have identified, or not me, but we being a royal we, have identified that the cortical silent period is actually reduced in people with Parkinson's as abnormal. And what that basically represents is we have a cortically silent period to actually refine the amount of electrical activity that comes out, so we can be really precise with our movements. And in Parkinson's, because that silent period is actually abnormally reduced, there's a lot of artifact, a lot of noise in the brain that actually means that the movements are not refined, and we typically see that in things like the tremor. So when we use exercise at really high intensity levels, so we're talking about 80% of what you perceive to be the most exercise you can possibly do, we start to see changes in both that cortical silent period and then also in the way that the brain mitigates against some of the other neurotransmitters coming in. So dopamine, we know, is a modulator in the basal ganglia. So we have dopamine coming into the basal ganglia, which sits in the mid part of the brain, and that mitigates or modulates multiple other neurotransmitters coming in, one of those being glutamate, which comes in from the cortex into the basal ganglia. It gets modulated with the dopamine in the system, and then we get this output. And when there's a dopamine deficiency, we get an overrepresentation of glutamate in the basal ganglia. And what that ultimately leads to is an excitatory overflow, and that's onto inhibitory neurons. So the net effect is a poverty of movement. It's a net underscaled output. And that's why we see in Parkinson's this bradykinesia, which is that slow and small movement, because of this overrepresentation of glutamate in the system, because of the dopamine deficiency. So I think what's really important to note is that with exercise, we can actually mitigate against that overrepresentation of glutamate in the system. So levodopa will do the same thing, but it comes with a whole host of side effects. So we're very pro-medication because we want everybody moving at the best possible training effect and receiving the best possible training effect they can. But if you can get similar effects from exercise as well, and possibly long-term capacity to plateau with your medication or reduce the dosage that you need to take, I think that's what's really exciting, and it's really around neuro restoration. So there's a lot of research going in now to looking at how we can get more of this neuro restorative effect. So there are two of the main areas, the corticosteroid period and mitigating against the overrepresentation or that hyperexcitability of the glutamate neurotransmitter into the system. There's also another effect of exercise that's really powerful as well. In our normal functioning brain with normal dosages of dopamine, we have an enzyme that comes in and removes the excess dopamine from our system when it's no longer required. But what we can actually do with exercise is mitigate against that enzyme, so that we can keep the endogenous, which is your naturally produced dopamine. We can actually keep that in the system longer by reducing the effect of this dopamine transport enzyme. And again, that's really exciting because if you can do that, then you don't require as much medication to supplement the dopamine deficiency that you have. So all of those and more, but there's some of the three key ways that neurorestoration can be really effective in improving movement, thinking and processing speed, and also how you feel purely through exercise, but that neuroactive approach to exercise.
Yeah. And I think that leads me quite nicely on to the next question, which we've hopefully already discussed a little bit tonight. But PD Warrior is much more than just exercise. And I'd like you to talk a little bit more about that. And just, you mentioned then that this neuroactive exercise that we're doing, it's not just about moving better, it's actually having some cognitive effect as well. So if you can kind of talk a little bit more about, that cognitive effect that we can have with exercise, but also why is PD Warrior more than just an exercise approach?
Yeah, look, it's a great question because I think PD Warrior for me and the clinicians that have been with the program as we've evolved it, yourself included, Julie, I think we've all learned a lot about our approach to exercise, our approach to helping people with Parkinson's, and I've really learned that from the patients themselves, and that's what's really led me to understand. And I've been taught that PD Warrior and the approach to exercise is so much more than an exercise-based model itself. And so now we actually have coined it into 4 key pillars. So the first being that neuroactive approach, which really differentiates it from other exercise approaches of general exercise. The second one is about education, because we really believe the better educated individuals are, the better you understand why you need to do an exercise program, the way it's being prescribed, tailored for you, what makes your program slightly different to the next person with Parkinson's, what makes your prescription a little bit different, your exercise history, your impairments, your goal, all those things come into it. The better you understand that and some of the underlying theory, the more inclined we find people are to stick with a program. And we're talking about a program that you need to do for life. Exercise is not a cure, but we do hope it will slow your symptom progression down. But the caveat is you have to do it for the rest of your life. Now, that may not be PD Warrior, of course. That might just be a kickstart for you. But what we hope is that you can reintroduce exercise and activity that you've stopped doing, or continue on with PD Warrior long term, or come back to it as required. We generally recommend at least every 6 months you come back in for a review so that you can top up your exercise program and the specific program that's right for you at that particular point in time. So it's very much about exercise. Third one is about a long-term behaviour change and strategy. So if you're already exercising now, that's worth celebrating and congratulating, because sometimes that can be half the battle, is getting you to get into a routine and habits of exercising. But if you're already doing that, it's great. It's just bringing in those neuroactive concepts so that you're getting the biggest bang for your buck that you possibly can every time you're exercising. It might be talking about ways of increasing your incidental activity as well, which is really important. But I guess what we're talking about with behaviour change is the long game. It's about creating a lifestyle opportunity for you where exercise just becomes routine, habitual. It's the right kind of exercise for you. It's something that's fun and enjoyable, and it's for the long term. So it's something that you know you're going to do with lots of changes and modifications along the way, but it's something you'll commit to for the rest of your life. So that's the third pillar. And the fourth one is about supporting the community, and this is definitely what our patients support me. So in our clinic, we run 10 classes now, and the community that has evolved within that group is profound. They run support groups themselves. We don't typically get involved. We might host and fund their wine and cheese, but they'll run their own evening events. It's a no-leave zone. They're there to help each other, pick each other up when they're having a down day, celebrate the wins, and it's just so amazing. And so what we're seeing now is that's emerged in ours, and we see that happening in all the other facilities around the world, which is amazing. But what we then tried to do was a little bit bigger and take these little silos that are all around in the global facilities and actually create one big global community that we can all learn from and share with. So we created Tribe 365. And that's kind of our graduation program. So you do the 10-week challenge, and then in our way of helping you to stick with that long-term behaviour change is creating lots of opportunities for more motivation, accountability, success stories, camaraderie, competition, and that's what we have in Tribe 365 as well. So that very much embodies the fourth pillar, which is about support and community. So I'd say it's all of those four things that have made PD Warrior as a program as successful and as effective as it is, because I think exercise alone is not going to give you the complete package. I think it needs to be a much more holistic approach, and I can say that now, having trained thousands of people globally, we know that this is giving people the best results. So I'm really happy with the fact that we learned eventually that it was really about the four key ingredients that we needed to make it work, and that's what makes PD Warriors so successful, I think.
Yeah, and then just again expanding a little bit on that now that you've come up with the phrase, those train brave. Can you explain a little bit behind that train brave slogan?
Yeah, definitely. So that kind of came from a conversation that I was having with one of my colleagues, and we were thinking about how can we create a phrase that really embodies what we're trying to do here. And we used to talk about fighting the symptoms of Parkinson's. And I wanted to move away from that because living with Parkinson's shouldn't be a battle. It's probably more around accepting where you are with life. Yes, you've got Parkinson's, and yeah, it sucks, but you know what? It's actually not the worst thing that you can have. And it's trying to help people understand the perspective of living well with Parkinson's. And in order to live well, which was the live brave component, you needed to train brave. You needed to train well to really get to that end stage. So we really wanted to help people understand that it takes courage, it takes bravery. You need to be bold to really commit to a program that's going to be really hard, very challenging, both physically and cognitively. It's going to demand you get up on the days that you don't want to do it, and you really need to train brave to do it and to achieve it. And I think that phrase to me really singles out the people that want to be the best that they can be versus the people that are not as motivated and not as compelled to do that. So that's where the train brave component came from. And then we recognised, obviously, there's a step before that, which was about making that very first step and accepting that you need to be all of that. You need to be brave, commit to yourself, want to be the best you can be. So then it became that be, train, live, brave, which was underscoring all of that. And so that's really the origins of that. And I love it now. I absolutely think it embodies what PD Warrior is all about.
Awesome, awesome. And then just finally now, you recently went to the World Parkinson's Conference in Japan, and you were there at the bookstall signing away your fabulous book, and which hopefully I'll be showing a copy of tonight as well. But from that, obviously a conference specifically focused on Parkinson's, and obviously a world gathering. What were some of the key things that you took away from there?
Well, there was a couple of things. One, because it was in Japan, I think, if I put it in context, in Japan, people don't like to have disabilities. People with disabilities not seen in public. And I went in 2000, and I was very well aware that, I never saw anybody with a disability. Going back this time, I would have seen probably 10 people in wheelchairs at the main train station in Kyoto, which was a massive transformation from what I'd experienced a couple of years ago to more than a couple of years ago. But also then to have a whole conference dedicated to a disability was phenomenal. And I think that kind of change in mentality and stigma was really encouraging for me. And I certainly see that. I think we're a little bit further ahead in Australia and New Zealand, but there's still stigma attached to that. So that was kind of the first thing that I saw, that these barriers are being broken down. And and really hierarchical cultures like Japan, they're starting to be very well broken down. So that was really encouraging for me. The second one, and I'll move on to research shortly, but the second thing was I met with a lot of people that come from countries that are not as, they don't have as much opportunity as we do here in Australia and New Zealand. And I think that made me really appreciate how lucky we are in Australia and New Zealand, that we have a choice of neurologists and movement disorder specialists. We have access to medication as it's prescribed. We're not having to smuggle medication in or fund it through alternative means. You can get to see a neurologist. Like all of these things I just take for granted. The entire PD Warrior treatment approach and the ability to refer out for services of speech and language therapy or medication review, we just accept that that's what you can do, and it's part of optimizing your management program. But in many countries around the world, that is not possible, and I think that really made me realize how important it is to have, you know, these support networks and the entire rehab team supported around you. So I was very, very grateful that we live in the countries that we do, so that we can really optimize the therapy for our patients. And then obviously talking to these individuals, thinking about how we can actually support and help them. Medication is beyond me, but there may be ways and opportunities with exercise to kind of expand into these countries, because that is something that's relatively easy to do. That was kind of the context of the conference that really blew me away. From the research side of things, I was probably taken most by the stem cell and the ILS information that was coming out. So there was a keynote speech. I can't remember his name now, but he's a Nobel laureate, and he was talking about the work that he's doing with stem cells. It's the traditional way of doing stem cell therapy is to take it from the individual, put it through a range of mechanisms where it can actually be transformed into neurons and then put back into the individual. But that in itself is an extremely laborious, time-consuming and very expensive process. So what this gentleman was actually talking about was taking that process and actually just taking stem cells from any donor individual and then creating a donor stem cell that can be put into any individual. And I think that just opens up enormous capacity to really take stem cells forward. So that was probably really exciting for me. One of the other presentations that I really enjoyed was the one from Dr. Laurie Mishley, which is talking about Parkinson's in nutrition. And I think this is an area that there hasn't been a lot of research on, but I think she's certainly taken my interest, and I'm really keen to hear a lot more from her. So Parkinson's disease and nutrition, Laurie Mishley, if you're interested, is definitely somebody to have a look at. And she's actually been very generous with the content. A lot of free webinars that you can check out on YouTube. So she'd definitely be worth following up. Beyond that, I don't think there's anything major that was groundbreaking for me. I think what was really encouraging is that there's so much going on. We're looking at phenotypes of Parkinson's, genotypes of Parkinson's. We don't know what we don't know about the genotypes yet, but we're certainly looking at all genetic mutations in LRRK2, PINK1, all the different things like that, which are helping to really tailor exercise to be that precision medicine. So what type of Parkinson's genetic and phenotypic presentation do you have? How can your medications be tailored specifically to that? So really looking at the precision medicine side of things, which of course is dependent on having the opportunities to have your movement disorder specialist, genetic testing and all those things available to you, which we hope in time will be available to everybody. But they were probably the main take-homes that I took from the WPC, and the rest of the time I spent connecting and networking with as many people as I possibly could, because you know, you look back 5 years ago and there was nowhere near this level of excitement and interest in helping people with Parkinson's, and that to me has probably been one of the biggest transformations. Is you look around any gathering now for Parkinson's, the who's who of Parkinson's, there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of engagement, and people really want to make significant changes, and that's so exciting to me.
Awesome. That's just amazing. Thank you so much, Mel. We really appreciate you coming and letting us do a bit of recording and having you there. And it's been awesome. So stop the recording now, and thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. Julie, thank you so much, Sarah, and enjoy your evening. Thank you.
So Mel talks exceptionally fast for those of you. So we have recorded this, so you guys will all get a copy of the recording as well to listen to that. I'd just like to say that I feel incredibly lucky that I had the opportunity to work under such an aspirational physio who also has such an amazing knowledge of neuroanatomy, because I definitely cannot retain and spell out the information that she does on locus pallidus. That is, so we were very lucky to get Mel for 20 minutes. So on Mel. So the book that she was talking about, the new Parkinson's treatment. Okay, we've got a copy here that you can have a look at. You can purchase this on Amazon and through the PD Warrior website. That's about it, but it is it's a fantastic, it is a really great book. It's got the 10-week program in, but it really talks about some fabulous parts. So I definitely recommend that, and we'll pop it back there. And we've also just brought up a couple of the PD Warrior resources. So if you choose to come and join us and do the PD Warrior program, Sarah talked about getting signed up to the PD Warrior online and getting the emails and the videos. There's also an app that you can get, but we also provide you with the PD Warrior workbook, which has got a lot of the base education in it. It's got the pictures and information about the 10 core exercises and bits and pieces as well. So we've got a few of those that you're welcome to have a little look at. And there is also, say, the PD Warrior DVD. So there is plenty of resources around to support you. So here at Connect, we run our PD Warrior group class on a Wednesday afternoon. If you're a health professional and you want to come in and watch what we do, then do come and join us. And I'm sure Sarah's happy for her sessions as well up on the coast there, Hibiscus Coast. And then we're here running one-on-one sessions, obviously, anytime. And Sarah runs a few more groups than I do, Mondays and Thursdays. So we have definitely made sure we don't clash on day, so you can go to all, okay, if you're really keen and want to get around. Sarah has done some fabulous organisation and obviously given you the folders that were on your chairs. Now in there you will find there's some leaflets of both Hibiscus Neuro and Connect and PD Warrior that's got all our contact details on. So if anyone wants to contact us about further information, that is all there. The PD Warrior can make a positive impact on your life. Hopefully that the 4 of us that have spoken tonight gave that same strong message. Exercise needs to be neuroactive. Okay, so again, it's just really thinking about that specificity. You could be the fittest person, running marathons, doing all sorts of bits and pieces, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're training completely correctly for your Parkinson's. Okay, if you want to lead that best life. The exercises are the tools you can put into every day. So it's a lot more about not just there's your 30 minutes of exercise and then walk around the rest of the day being small. It's about really trying to take what you learn through the movements into the day-to-day activities as well. As I say, contact us to see if it's the right fit, and Sarah and myself have offered to do a 10-minute free phone consult for anyone who wants to know further information, who you're obviously welcome to chat to us tonight or give either myself or Sarah a call, chat more. And we have also got on here some feedback forms. Okay, so before anyone goes, I'm allowed to leave to the forms I've completed. But our bad that we didn't have any pens, so we do apologise for that. So there might be a bit of sharing of pens. If you could just take, it's a very short form, but if you could take a couple of minutes and fill out that feedback form and just leave it on your chair, that would be amazing. And as I say, it's been really amazing to have the opportunity to have you guys here. And I feel really lucky to have a career and work in a job where we can make a difference to people's lives. And I think that is, you know, I never really forget that. And I find that very humbling. To have the opportunity to speak to yourselves has been amazing. And as I said, we've got the recording, which we will, Sarah's got, I think, most of your email addresses, so we will send you out this link so you've got that recording. But we will just open up for any questions for a few minutes. So Simon, I'm sure, will come up to front if anyone's got a question in. We do also have a list of the references, which again we'll send out the slide copy on the email. Okay, so if anyone wants to have a little more active research, that's some of the key articles. I think PD Warrior itself, when I last counted, I think they're up to about, I think it's at 200 and it's about 200 and something research articles that they have built the evidence on. So there is a full list that is available, but that's kind of some of those key ones. So have we got any questions at the moment from anyone? We've also potentially got some questions coming from the online thing as well, which Petrie's arms haven't fallen off yet. I have seen that she's done lots of swapping her arms. Has anyone got any questions for Sarah or Simon? I often say if we've stunned you to silence, then that means that hopefully we've answered any potential questions. But fab. All right, well, I'll take this opportunity to, again, just give Simon a really big hand for volunteering to come and talk about his story. So thank you, Simon. Sarah has been the instigator for organising pretty much tonight, so thank you, Sarah, for all. Plenty of cheese and nibbles and drinks still to be had. Me and Sarah will kick around here for probably at least another half an hour or so. So please feel free to come and have a bit of a chat with us, or say, you know, Petrie is here from Connect Neuro as well, and we've also got Belinda here, two of the other physios, to answer any questions as well. But thank you.